I joined the LDS Church after many years of being a non-denominational Christian. I spent years studying, praying, and living according to what I believed was the will of God. I spoke out against alcohol, drug use, homosexuality, and all the other things that a good Christian is supposed to be opposed to. I didn't really have a problem with anyone drinking alcohol or using marijuana. I had no personal reason for disliking homosexuals. Of course, as a good Christian, I kept this to myself. After all, when you are a sheep, you must follow the flock. For a long time, I actually believed that there was a God, that Jesus was a real Savior who really died for my sins. I believed with all my heart that I was going to go to heaven. I followed the 10 Commandments and read the Bible cover to cover many times. It was only when I stopped believing simply by faith and actually began taking a real look at the scriptures that I finally came to the conclusion that the Bible wasn't all that it seemed. As a Mormon, I refuted the critics, mostly mainstream Christians, who tried to tell me that the Book of Mormon and the LDS Church were false. I became quite the apologist. While doing my best to prove that the LDS Church and the Book of Mormon were every bit as true as the Bible, I saw the flaws in my own arguments and realized I was using the very same arguments that they were using against me. I found problems with the Bible itself, problems with its history, its origins, and the problems with what I thought was a loving God. I found that the Bible was not an original set of stories, but copies of stories from other holy books that were much older than the Bible. I found the stories of other Savior gods. Then I found that it wasn't that they were exact copies of Jesus. Jesus was a copy of the other Savior gods. As time went on, I decided that I had to look at science. Finally, after a lifetime of faith and believing in a storybook, the pieces of the puzzle came together. Everything finally made sense. I no longer had to worry that there was an invisible man living in the sky watching every move I made. I didn't have to worry about hell or being rejected by a God who loved me so much that he was willing to let me suffer for eternity without my family, simply because of unbelief. I have lost a few friends and faced criticism from arrogant Christians who claim that I was never truly saved or that I was never a true believer. I no longer worry when they claim that I simply didn't know how to read the Bible or that I interpreted it wrong, like we've never heard that before. It's amazing how many of them will say these things and then refuse to look at the evidence that strongly refutes the Christian beliefs. When I asked one friend why he believes in the Christian God and not any other God, he simply stated, "I just believe and that's it." Another friend said, "I don't care what anyone says, I am going to always believe, and that's all there is to it. Nothing will ever change my mind." I remember making statements like that. Fortunately, I no longer just believe in a God. Well, unless you count the flying spaghetti monster, that is. There may be no evidence of a Christian God, or a Hindu God, or any other of the myriad of thousands of gods that are worshipped throughout the world today. But at least I have seen spaghetti, and I know it exists. No faith is required. Thank you for watching.